On Friday, I believe you announced that you were looking into the lifting of the moratorium on supermarkets, and your hope was that more supermarkets would therefore decrease the price. Wouldn't it be better to ensure that our inspections are maybe ramped up, rather than adding more businesses to an already saturated market?
Well, it's a combination of both. The advice from the department was such, and we are busy reviewing it as well. But the inspections are ongoing, will continue to be ongoing. Any reports regarding price gouging are being investigated and being addressed. So those inspections will just have to continue, and we'll continue addressing that. Thank you.
Lyndon Brown of BCN TV, you have the floor.
Good morning to all honorable ministers. I have seen the progress of the people of St. Martin. To the Minister of Justice, the emphasis of our local police officers. A lot of times you hear negative, but I have seen the advancement of during the election, that they have been honored and they have done their job properly. There's an ongoing class at the University of St. Martin, Minister of Justice. Do you have any idea how long this class will be continued? Because the advancement of our police officers is necessary.
Thank you. I always believe in investing in our own, and if they're doing a job, we also want to give them the tools to be able to do the job. I need to mention that the surveillance cameras are being installed. That's going to also help them do their job better. Again, I thank them as well for the job that they have done. As a matter of fact, on election day at 8 p.m., once the polls were closed, I visited the police station and spoke to Mr. Cal John and other officers there and thanked them for the work that they did, and also to get an idea of if there were any incidents, and it was pretty much clear. Some may notice as well that the ban on alcohol was not there. And it really did not pose an issue. Even though it was something that people were used to doing, there was no real legal basis for it. My time around, when I had the opportunity, since there's no legal basis for it, we did not do it, even though it was a customer doing it. So I think it shows, again, the maturity of our people, and I want to congratulate them for that. I think, again, we are a beacon in the Caribbean and in the world, and we can have free and fair elections without incidents, and that's the way we need to continue going. Thank you.
Andrew Dick of the Daily Herald, you have the floor.
Good morning to the ministers. Minister DeWeaver, concerning the U.S. pre-clearance, I know we were working on it before Irma, then of course with the state of the airport now. Any update concerning that? We are actually planning a trip next week to the Punta Cana for the pre-clearance. While we're there, we're also going to make a couple other stops. And since I covered two ministries, we want to make sure that we kind of kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone. And that's going to happen the week of, I believe, 9th to the 16th, if I'm not mistaken. The visit in Punta Cana itself will be on the 16th. And then we have a couple meetings before that as well. So that's all still on track. And we're looking to, again, because Punta Cana is the latest place that pre-clearance has been established, there are lessons that we can learn from there and make sure that whatever hurdles they had, that we overcome them quickly and avoid making any poor decisions.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more, however you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right, get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah, right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard to 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Charity begins at home. Now, civil servants were able, after the passing of Hurricane Irma, to access some funds. It was not mandatory, but it was given in the format of a loan. And I said this before, and it is good for me to repeat it. It was given in the form of a loan and tax-free, one full salary at the end of September. And this loan, the repayment would have to be in 12 portions, starting the end of January. Now, with all the developments that is going on, with a number of our teachers still waiting on settlements, for the insurance settlements, with them still being caught up in rebuilding, where prices have been, going higher for material, the number of persons that have been negative affected because there are certain materials that are not readily available. All of this ties into now even earning less, because if you were one of those persons, one of the teachers that took this loan, today they have already been 2 months in the repayment. Now, it might have looked like a relief or an assistance back then, but it is a loan, an interest-free loan, while in a number of years that we have been civil servants and also experiencing hurricanes, we always got a certain amount from the government as workers in the teaching profession and civil servants as a relief. That would be some monies that you would get and you would not have to repay. So there were always two structures in place. One, the relief, and two, the loan, the interest-free loan. What I find remarkable is that no consultations were actually taken with the social partners or the unions to determine, but just taking this loan and saying you have to pay it back in 1 year, 12 months, it is actually something that I would say is not of any assistance anymore. They should have actually circulated a form and give the persons, based on their monthly expenditures, the option of repaying, whether it would be in a year and a half, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, 36 months. Let the persons themselves give that option. So since we see that there's flexibility in this cabinet of dealing with certain reliefs like the payment of license plate, we will be addressing this with the as unions with the ministry now to see if we can have them revisit this payment of the social payment that you have to pay back of the loan that teachers and civil servants have gotten, and to come up with something a little more social for the persons that have opted, and even to look at real relief as a matter of assisting those persons that are still struggling within the structure to rebuild their lives. We have a number of persons that are civil servants and teachers that fit it within this category. So we cannot neglect them, and this form of assistance would also be very good to them, because as I said already, charity begins at home. If the government as an employer of the civil servants and also the subsidized schools with the teachers, if they would provide for their human resources this sort of social assistance, it will help a long way.
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIB MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 fun mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of fun miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to My Card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free fun miles with first use. Switch to My Card today at WIB.
Fun miles, from within your reach.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more. However you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right. Get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah. Right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
On Friday past, February 23rd, a follow-up stakeholder session was held at the University of St. Martin. After weeks of individual meetings with these organizations, myself, cabinets, management of the ministry, it was the right time for everyone to join together again and discuss where we now stood in relation to the ministry's resilience plan as approved. We were able to, of course, be informed by critical staff members, the Secretary General, about the progress with the World Bank, possibility for low-hanging, as we call them, low-hanging fruits and priority projects that will need secured funding, and that went very well. We also, of course, used the meeting to be also encouraged by the proactive nature of some of those stakeholders, including school boards. I've been encouraged by, for instance, the Seventh-day Adventist school, by the Catholic School Board, by MPC, by the library, because all those stakeholders have displayed proactive initiatives to secure their interests, such as the repairs, as some of these schools have been heavily damaged and affected. Of course, all these initiatives are, and all these school boards and stakeholders have expressed that they will go the extra mile to secure their services, whether it's rendering schooling, education, or, for instance, library services can be secured for the community at large. We were therefore able to discuss also the possibilities that we have outside the settlement of the insurance claim, or indeed the funds available through the trust fund or the priority funds, as some of these schools have expressed, that if indeed government is able to maybe pay some of those outstanding funds that we actually as government owe, they can go and stretch it further and even can secure some of their repairs before the availability of disbursement of insurance claims. And that's encouraging because I believe it is critical and very important that we show what we are able to do ourselves before, of course, seeking additional opportunities through loans and alike. In that sense, I'm also encouraged and supported, as was emphasized by my other colleague, Minister De Wever, that it is indeed about partnership. And as I've expressed throughout the previous weeks, as Minister of Education, we indeed should recognize the responsibility that we have for the school environments and the safety of the school facilities. And they are currently, of course, covered under one insurance policy, and we've seen the sensitivity and the risk that is associated with that. I'm therefore very satisfied, and I can inform the media and through you also the listeners and those further involved, such as the stakeholders and the schools, that we indeed will begin the discussions on the possibility of indeed this ministry's related institutions, such as the libraries, sport facilities and schools, to indeed retain maybe their own insurance policy in the future. And that would be a break and a change of an existing practice that have been in place over the last, let's say, 2 decades. Of course, it has been the norm for years and years that these institutions have all been covered under one big government insurance umbrella, so to speak. And while that has its advantages, resulting in, for instance, in lower premiums, we are now seeing the other side, where the lengthy delays we are indeed experiencing to disburse and to conclude the matters of the claim. I will therefore begin talks this week to seek any alternative options so that we can ensure that these type of events, such as last year hurricane, and the establishment of indeed the availability of claims and funds can move quicker in the interest of the safety and the repairs of schools, of sports facilities, or other institutions such as cultural organizations. I will keep you updated as these talks will progress, and I will also, of course, ensure that the Minister of General Affairs and her staff and relevant departments are included in that process as we recognize the joint responsibilities in this matter.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
In my opinion, everything is perfect and you would be great for the job. But I see here that there's a 2-year gap in your resume. What did you do?
I was hospitalized for mental illness.
Oh, mental illness?
I've undergone treatment and I have a wonderful family that supports me.
Well, that is good news.
No, it's fine. I'm recovered.
We'll contact you, okay?
For a better understanding of mental health and what you can do to stop mental health stigma, please go to the Mental Health Foundation's website at www.mhf-sxm.com.
When we look at the different formation options, it is up to these political parties to form coalition or to form their government. If we look at the cry from the people that everybody should unite for us to come out of this situation of Irma, we also say you have to unite to get us out of poverty. So that means that the UP with its 7 seats, the NA with its 5 seats, the USP with the 2 seats, and the St. Martin Christian Party with the 1 seat, the 15 parliamentarians have to come together and form with these 4 parties a national coalition. Don't leave nobody out, because you all represent the voters, the people from St. Martin. Being all represented in parliament and in government means that you will take care of all the voters that have come out and expressed your vote. There are other possibilities, of course, because of negotiations. Maybe they cannot find one another. For instance, the St. Martin Christian Party, as a newcomer, was very consistent in addressing issues as integrity, in issues of the change that has to come, how to go about in parliament and all of that. And the older parties and the older politicians, when we analyze how they was behaving and also how they were looking at the St. Martin Christian Party in this respect, were not so welcoming for these kind of ideas. So this is something that if these parties cannot get one another in their negotiations, the St. Martin Christian Party for sure will not give up its principles, and that can and might be a reason for UP, NA, and USP to leave them out of a coalition. We would still end up then with a 14-seat government backed up in parliament. It's a qualified majority. What can happen also is that maybe they want to leave the USP out. That still will give a 13-seat majority. Other possibility is that they will leave the NA out because they can find them. And then that will end up in a 10-seat majority, which is still a 2/3 majority. Now these options, we can only dream about what would be the dream team. Bringing these politicians together and getting a dream team, you can only dream about the best team. So what we would like to do is actually encourage all the political leaders and their political party boards to sit together and unite. Unite to get us out of our poverty situation. Unite to get us out of the after Irma ills that we have been seeing that were already created before Irma came. Why we say that? The poverty that was identified has been manifested more by Irma. Because if you look at the housing situation, for instance, the housing of the poor, they have been badly damaged. And so, with this example of how people end up and how more people ended up in poverty because they lost their jobs, is for us a clear indication that the political parties have to address this seriously. Let's say that the United People Party until now was the party that only spoke about projects that is for restoration of the economy. That might be a bottleneck when they do not want to consider the social part of what is needed. Eradication of poverty is a social issue. And so, how to go about that? When the National Alliance, the United St. Martin Party, and the St. Martin Christian Party can find themselves in addressing this issue of the eradication of poverty, the social program, a more social reform of the government policies, It can also be that then the UP will not join this possibility of the coalition. It is all up to these parties to look at what is for them the best option. We don't think, as anti-poverty platform, that any of the parties should be left out. But it will be to their discretion to have the negotiations and to come up with a coalition government. As anti-poverty platform, whatever coalition government will be formed, we will address them as we have been doing all the time, continuing to inform them about the need of our people. Today self, we will write a letter to the governor, where the governor will be asked to instruct the informateur, that is the one that is looking at all the possibilities to form a new coalition government, to put the eradication of poverty of 94% of our households as an item that must be looked into and that must be coming back in the governing program. If the four parties can agree that that should be a priority. We will also send a letter to the United Democrats, the National Alliance, and the United St. Martin Party, as these three coalition parties until now did not sign the commitment to eradicate poverty. So by having already the St. Martin Christian Party on board, committing with the anti-poverty platform to address the eradication of poverty, we would like to give one more chance to the National Alliance, to the United St. Martin Party, and the United Democrats. The parties that don't want to sign with us, they will continuously have to deal with us. Either you sign or you did not sign, you will have to eradicate the poverty. And we will be constantly vigilant in what you are going to do.